Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
And I'm Andrew Sabo.
And we are here this week to talk about episode 554, Sounds Like a Mystery.
I have it as 548.
What did I say?
554.
I just made numbers up.
Okay. As long as... Like, I thought I was having a stroke. I was like, what?
Nope. No, I was the one with the stroke.
Oh, lovely. Thank goodness. It wasn't my brain this time.
It's a Dylan's Choice episode, folks.
Yes, it is.
I have chosen wisely.
And I don't resent you at all. Yeah, this is delightful.
Yeah, this isn't like when Andrew picked the evolution episode.
Yeah, that was a mistake. We can sit here and call it for what it is. A bad idea.
And because of that, Andrew's never getting an Andrew's Choice again.
Yep, that's true. I've lost all privileges. No opinions.
And so yeah, this episode first came out October 2nd of 2004. It is written by John Fornoff. It is directed by Bob Hoose. And it was on the album Along for the Ride, which is album 43.
Yeah. This is an album that you listened to a bit?
No. So here's the thing is though I did like, this is an album I checked out from the church library from time to time because it's in that like
the sweet spot.
Yeah. It's very much in the like Novacom through album 50, like where I spent most of my time.
Yeah.
But the reason I know this episode so well is because it was also on, they did compilation albums where you would get, it was one CD with 3 episodes on it under the Life Lessons, like moniker.
Yeah.
And so it would be like 3 ones that have like a similar theme. And Life Lessons 07, which is called Honesty, was one that I owned.
Okay.
Which contains The Tangled Web. By Any Other Name. And Sounds Like a Mystery. And so,
wow, those are all really solid episodes if I'm remembering.
Yeah,
correctly.
I mean, By Any Other Name is kind of fine.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I at least remember it.
Sure. They're episodes that I listened to a whole heck of a lot because I had this CD that had those 3 on it. Mm-hmm. There was 2 of those albums that we owned when I was growing up. And I don't remember what the other one was. But I did just find it. Which the other one was, so that was Life Lessons Honesty, which is the one that I owned.
Yeah.
And then my brother got Life Lessons Responsibility. Which has the other episode in which Rodney falls through the skylight.
I thought that was a fun little bit to contain in this one.
Yep.
Nice little callback.
So yeah, we wound up with 2 CDs picked at randomly by my parents, probably as stocking stuffers, and they both contained episodes where Rodney goes through a skylight.
The only 2 episodes, I think.
Yeah,
but...
I think also maybe the only 2 episodes in which the skylight exists.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I mean, skylights just kind of magically appear in Wits End. I wouldn't be surprised if every room had one.
Yeah. That also has has front page news on it, which it's got the Woodward and Bernstein runner in that episode, the guys who broke the Nixon case.
I'm sorry, I'm lost.
The episode front page news,
okay,
has a running joke in it
about Watergate.
Correct. About Kurt Stevens and Oscar Peterson being compared to
the Watergate people.
Yep.
Okay. I'm sure. Okay.
But that was my introduction to the concept of Woodward and Bernstein.
Thanks, Odyssey. You're really doing the most here.
Yeah. Also has All's Well with Boswell.
Oh, that is true.
That's the Robin Jacobs babysits a cat and it escapes.
Yes.
Which is a generally
It's a
fun
solid
episode. But
yeah.
we're not here to talk about any of those episodes. We're here to talk about Sounds Like a Mystery,
which is top notch.
one of the greats. It's just a perfect single episode contained Odyssey. John Fornoff just given the most on this one. Like not a guy who I'm like
writes great mysteries.
Right.
You think,
yeah,
or...
exactly. Like he's not someone who I'm like in the pocket for. Like this episode feels like McCusker.
Yeah.
And John Fornoff has written a lot of episodes that we like. But it just it is.
Just because we associate mysteries and all of that so much with Paul McCusker's angle. And it does feel like he's kind of modeling it slightly after that style.
Yeah, possibly. But Fornoff was a good writer and like didn't have that many episodes on the show overall. Basically just had like, a period of a few years where he was writing, but he brought us the, great classics such as like Gloobers and Sunset Bowl of Water. And,
Sunset Bowl of Water.
And important for the context of this episode, Snow Day is a Fornoff episode.
Incredible. I'm so glad. That makes me so happy. There's a lot of Novacom era callbacks in this episode.
Yeah, correct. Which Snow Day is not really Novacom era, but
I mean, same album though. It's off Danger Signals.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
I only have it off the Christmas collection.
Oh, it's not a Christmas episode.
I agree, but we covered it as one, Andrew.
True.
So you need to stick hard to the line and say that it is.
I'm touting the party line and saying that Snow Day is a Christmas episode. Nuts. Yeah. I'm allergic to nuts.
I know. You get to break out your Rodney in this episode. I get to break out my Link Wainwright. It's great.
Good time all around.
Yeah. The other stuff of note, we have Kenneth Mars playing Captain Quinn. We've talked about Kenneth Mars before as Captain Quinn, because Captain Quinn's in like the Perfect Witness episodes. He's around. He's the Odyssey. Yeah. He's an Odyssey cop, and Kenneth Mars is Grandpa Longneck in all of the Land Before Time movies, and he's also except for the first one, I think. But he's got the Will Ryan connection there. He is the voice of Triton in Little Mermaid and its sequels, and has been in a ton of stuff over a very long period of time. And
love to see it.
Appears to be a pretty, he has since passed. But a pretty good get. And we also have Deborah Marlowe, who is voicing our Sergeant Beverly Collins. And she's done some like voicing in video games, and that's kind of it.
Okay.
But has been on Odyssey a couple times, though not in any episodes we've covered. But yeah, and she has been on episodes of Odyssey as recently as 2018.
Oh wow. Okay.
But just like 5 here and there, not really playing recurring characters.
No, just doing bit roles.
Yeah,
but she still has relationship with the
and she's good in this episode.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have any other real context about this episode.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty bare bones cast, but it is good. I would say it's really solid. Everybody that they have.
Yep. It works. So I think I'm just gonna roll the promo then.
Please do.
It's amazing, isn't it? You'd think someone would notice someone stealing a landmark. On the next Adventures in Odyssey, there's a lot of questions.
I promise you, I didn't take the statue. I didn't do it, Wit.
Well, why would you lie to us, Snake?
I just want to know what happened to the statue. Oh, just one more thing. You can find out on the next Adventures in Odyssey.
the rat that spoke is back.
He really is. I'm so glad we covered this episode now.
Yeah.
I was upset about it up until now, but now that we get to listen to that promo,
Yeah, oh yeah, I was really on the fence with this one, but holy Moses. That is special. That is unique.
Yeah.
That is unforgettable. It's just the tone of voice.
Bad noir, I guess is what we're going for.
Oh yeah.
But the music doesn't fit.
Nope.
And it's rare that we get the intro guy doing a character, but it's always fun when it happens.
Yeah, no, it sounds like the you want to buy a sundial guy is giving the intro.
Oh man.
Shout out all my Hercules fans out there.
Ah, yeah, I just laughed and nodded like I knew that reference.
Oh. Well, have you never seen the animated Hercules?
I don't believe so. It's one of those where I think I have seen bits and pieces, if not entireties, of every animated Disney movie, because there were 2 places that we used to go growing up where they would just have random ones playing.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I don't have any recollection of Hercules.
There's been so many Hercules movies. I think that you should, the next showing that you do should be like a Hercaverse situation. Where you get the Disney one.
Hercaverse.
Yes.
That's... Yep.
Well,
what are the other Hercules?
So there's the Disney one, there's the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson one that came out fairly recently, and then there's like a really old one that's like old school Hollywood Hercules.
Interesting.
So there's at least
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson one that's recent?
I mean, it was relatively last 5 years, I think.
Wow. Does he have hair in it?
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't know. I think.
Can you have a bald Hercules?
The thing that I remember was he was wearing the lion head on, so it might be covering.
Oh, there you go. Okay. This really does not matter.
No, not at all.
But I'm gonna let you.
I'm sorry, 2014. So not that recently.
But does he have hair, Andrew?
Oh.
I thought that's what we were Googling for.
I was looking for the year. Yes, he does. He's got a flowing mane.
I guess the hair kind of works if he has a beard. It's not terrible.
No, I mean, honestly, it's pretty...
Expected that to look a lot worse.
Yeah, he fits the Hercules look pretty well. It does have a resounding 58% on Rotten Tomatoes, so...
Oh boy. That's not that bad.
No.
Anyways, that is so irrelevant to our conversation. But
how does this episode begin, Dylan?
Oh, it begins with a voice that is not Link Wainwright's. I discovered in listening to this episode today.
Yes.
But it does begin with a different newscaster saying, "And in other news, the Statue of Liberty comes to Odyssey."
Just branded on my cerebellum.
Yep. I'm going to pretend I know what a cerebellum is, but...
It's a part of your brain.
Cool.
Okay, there you go.
So glad we got that.
Happy to help. But then we throw it over to Link Wainwright. Right?
Yeah, then we do. Right, he does throw it to Link Wainwright, who is interviewing Wit. About this. So there is the original model that was built by the designer of the Statue of Liberty. I did not fact check any of this, but I assume it is fake.
Yeah.
What? This episode's 2004. It's pre-National Treasure. That feels wrong. This feels like this episode only exists because of National Treasure.
Yeah. Maybe it's the other way around.
Nick Cage was
very into Adventures in Odyssey. He's an eccentric man. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a secret hobby for Christian radio dramas.
I would. And so so there's a little mini Statue of Liberty, and they there's a display that's traveling around the country, and on the way to Chicago, Wit has nabbed it to have it in Odyssey.
How?
Maybe at his shop, maybe not. That part is really unclear.
Yeah, I got the impression that it was just kind of like in the street.
Yeah, or like it's in McAllister Park.
Yeah.
Like it's odd.
It's not in a museum. There's say that much.
Yeah. And it's it's a whole to do.
It was the model that the artist based the Statue of Liberty on. It's estimated to be worth a stupid amount of money. And you yourself can get a model at the gift shop for a reasonable price.
A surprisingly realistic model.
Yes. Which I did not pick up on that bit the first time I listened to the episode. It was only on the re-listen that I was like, oh man, way to go. Like, layering it all in.
Yeah. It's a well-crafted mystery. And so, they as they wrap up the interview. There's this whole bit where like Whit has hired specific security.
Yeah.
But the security person is referred to as Sergeant, which feels like they're not private security and are in fact
military.
Yeah. Or a police officer. Just like a bigger one from Chicago or something. I don't know. Look, here's the deal. Sergeant Collins is not particularly like well fleshed out.
No. And whether that's intentional or not, Lord knows, but it is very hard to tell exactly what her connection is to any of this.
Yeah. And so there's a right as they wrap their conversation, and then Link and Whit are just having like casual chat.
Yeah.
Then a bomb goes off. And they look around and the Statue of Liberty. It's been stolen.
Yeah. Sergeant tells Whit to get to the security tent or something like that. And I will say like the sound for the explosion and the crowd noise and all that was like very, very compelling. Like I could really imagine what was going on.
Yeah.
As far as like knowing where they were in space and stuff.
Yes, this episode is incredibly well like engineered.
Yeah.
And we'll get into like more of that later. But like. Yeah, big shouts out to Rob Jorgensen, who's just
balling out,
coming in hard on this episode. Like, yeah.
I really hope they gave him like a bonus or something for basically being like the means of storytelling in this episode.
Yeah. I'm sure they didn't, but yeah, I agree. So we go into Wits End and Nick. Nick's there at Wits End, and he's got a
new kind of ice cream.
Yep, it's a macadamia nut ice cream. Who's he talking? Oh, he's talking to Collins.
Yeah,
like she walks in and he's chatting with her and asking if she wants to try some macadamia nut ice cream, and I'm like, well, that's not
important.
Yeah. And then she explains the statue's gone and there was like a small bomb set up as a distraction, and kind of asks Nick what he's been up to, and he's like, I've been here the whole day, like it, you know. And then Rodney shows up, and Nick tries to offer him the ice cream, and Rodney like freaks out and is like, what, are you trying to kill me? It's macadamia nuts, I am allergic.
Yeah, he really leads into that inflection, and it's like kind of it's very much like almost like a wink at the camera of like, remember when he said it this way before? Because it's not really like drawn a lot of attention to, because then it leads right into the sergeant like basically being like, all right, well, we've got to ask some questions, and Rodney gets super squeamish.
Gotta use the bathroom, bye.
Dips. I mean, been there, done that. When IBS strikes, you just gotta go, man.
Do we think Rodney has IBS?
I can't imagine he has a particularly fiber-dense diet. So it could be very hard for him to have solid bowel movements in general.
Well, more you know.
Hope he's well. I wish the best for his colon.
Yeah. And so we're hanging out we're talking here. At this point, Wit comes in as well, followed by Captain Quinn.
Yes.
So it's all four of them. No. Quinn's on the radio, because it's Quinn radios. So they're all standing around talking, and Quinn radios in to say, like, hey, we've got a lead. Like, there was someone seen fleeing the site in a green t-shirt that said, I love my barking tree frog.
Yeah.
And like in unison, both, like,
look at.
Yep, everyone turns and looks and goes, Nick?
Yeah. Matches the description.
Also, if I have my act together, there will be a link in the description to buy I Love My Barking Tree Frog on a green t-shirt. Maybe other colors, because I really want that shirt.
Yeah, no, me too, actually. That's a great bit.
Yeah.
I love my barking tree frog.
It's delightful. Big fan of Nick.
Best Odyssey merch that has nothing to do with Odyssey.
Yep. Suddenly Nick has jumped up as subject. Suddenly Nick has jumped up as suspect number 1. Wit's like, well, there's a real quick way to clear this out. You said you were here all day, like, we can pull the security footage. And Nick's like, oh, yeah. Might as well just pull it from the front door. There's nobody has access to the back. It's locked. And Wit's like, well, let's check both just to be safe. I want to clear this all up.
Yeah.
And there's footage of Nick sneaking in the back door. And
because he went to flirt with a drop-dead gorgeous tour guide.
No. This really knockout beautiful tour guide.
Knockout beautiful.
Yep.
Lovely.
Yes.
I love when women's beauty is described in terms of physical violence.
I agree. I think we should have more of that.
Yep. Boy, she's as... I don't know. I was going to make like a fully automatic rifle joke.
Wow. All right.
I mean...
And so, so there's just this whole... so he had snuck out for like 5 minutes to go see it, and we get man, it is so hard for me not to just quote every line from this episode, because they're all in there.
Do it.
Because we get they're talking like, you get Wit like being disappointed, and you get Captain Quinn going, well, why would you lie to us, Nick? And so they take him in for questioning. And then Wit's like, okay, I gotta go like close up the shop so I can go down to the station with Nick. And we get Collins goes like, you're a good man, Mr. Whitaker, and then like is like, I'm gonna like look around out back. And exit that way.
Not suspicious at all.
Truly not.
No. No, it was only upon re-listening that I was like, oh, that's when the bad thing happens.
Yeah. Spoilers.
So sorry. Not like this is a recap episode or anything.
No. Nobody's listened ahead of time. They're listening as we go through.
Yes, exactly. Actually, they listen after the fact.
Oh, cool. Love that. So
it's like all those times you read the cliff notes and then just read the real book.
Yeah. So it's the next day, and Nick's been released, but they're gonna call him back for questioning again, and they're walking around, and Wit's disappointed in him, and Nick's like, well, can you forgive me? And Wit's like, I already have, but you've like hurt my trust of you, and it's gonna take some work to earn that back.
Yeah, you lied.
Which is also not the first time he has lost Wit's trust, because of the whole Erica thing.
Oh yeah, that did happen.
It for sure did.
Yeah, no, Nick is not the most trustworthy of individuals.
Yeah.
But that being said, he's the best.
I love Nick.
Yeah, no, he's a great character.
And so they're walking through Wit's End, and they get into Wit's office, And the skylight there's glass on the floor. They look up and they see that the skylight has been broken.
And Whit yells, but I just fixed it.
300 episodes ago, I had just repaired this. And so...
If I had a nickel for every time I broke a skylight, I'd have 2 nickels.
Yep. Isn't a lot.
It's weird it happened twice.
Yeah. It is, it's real fun. And so they're looking around and there's nothing missing upstairs, but there's also a chair that's been pushed towards a window. And, Nick goes, well, I don't know what's going on, but this sounds like a mystery.
Roll credits.
Yep. And they had already call it into the police department, and they don't get any, like, they're like, we're busy with other stuff. Like, we'll come around when we get the chance. But, like, $1 million statue versus, like, break in with nothing stolen.
Yeah.
Only for them to then, after getting off the phone with the police, go, we should check the security footage.
Yeah, what? Order of operations there, my friends.
Yeah. Yep. And, they discover then that the videotape has been stolen.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep.
Clearly premeditated.
But Whit then reveals that he has been setting up a new invention that turns any telephone into a motion-sensing microphone. He's been working on this after the break-in in the basement.
Which was...
Erica in Novacom.
Oh, lovely. Sounds good. Stupendous.
Yep. And so...
Whit actually recently went to work for TikTok as well.
I don't get this joke.
Oh, because, like, TikTok's, like, famously a massive surveillance thing that is, like, constantly listening to you even when the app's not open.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's, like... part of why their algorithm is so good.
Has that stopped you from hanging out
Lord,
on TikTok?
No,
okay.
No, not at all. If anything, it probably makes me like it more.
Great. Love that.
I've given up on the illusion of privacy.
You're just admitting defeat.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I have a Google phone, like... They've already got all of my passwords and all of my information, so...
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. What a great world we live in.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Nothing wrong with this.
I love monopolies. They're super good for the consumer.
Yeah. But this sets up just a brilliant storytelling device in which, like, it's an audio show.
Yep.
And the only clues they have are in audio form.
Yep.
As previously done in Perfect Witness and other stuff like that. But, like, Odyssey is just, like, really in the pocket here.
Yeah.
And so we're listening through we hear the skylight crash and someone, like, futz around, then picks up audio, like, downstairs in the bathroom. How many phones does Whit have in Whit's
A lot.
End?
Probably one in every room at least.
Including the bathroom.
Yep.
And, yeah, there's, like, a door closing
IBS
and then, like, a sound and then a sneeze.
Yeah.
And Rodney's like, Nick's like, if we could just identify that sneeze. And he's like, wait, I know where that door is. And, like, goes down to the bathroom, and then they're like trying to replicate the noise, and eventually like figures out the paper towel dispenser. And then
it's like, why would somebody break in and open the paper towel dispenser and leave?
Yep. And then a little sound goes off, and there's a smell that fills the air, and it's automatic air freshener.
Is this a really common thing? Like automatic air fresheners in bathrooms like that?
I don't think it's that common.
Yeah, well, because I really had no memory of it, and then I worked briefly at a mental health hospital that had them in every single bathroom, and I was like, why does every bathroom smell so freaking strong? Like, all the time, and then every now and then I would hear that sound or whatever.
There you go.
And I was like, oh, okay. But If you had told me that technology had been around since 2004, I would not have believed you. 'Cause I have no like previous interaction with this kind of stuff.
Interesting. Well, maybe Whit invented it.
Yeah, we can hope.
And yeah, we don't get the reveal of what that air freshener is, but
Nick yells, "I've got it!"
Yep. And then because it's like you can go over and look at the label, like there's the scents there on the label, and he goes over and looks at it and is like, aha.
Yeah.
Mystery
and then cut
solved.
to.
Yep. It is Officer Quinn, Nick, and Whit show up at Rodney's clubhouse.
Yes.
And
Incredible.
they ask to come in, and we get some of the best Rodney ever.
So
A man's clubhouse is his castle. Do you have a warrant to invade my castle?
Yeah.
And it's just Quinn being so over it.
Oh my god,
and so
it's
they,
so
they
funny.
go in to ask him some questions.
Yep.
And he's like,
"Why are you wearing gloves?"
yep. He's like, "Oh, I burnt myself cooking." And he's like, the only stove I see in here is a microwave. And he goes, "It was set on high." They're like, "Just take the gloves off, Rodney." And he pulls them off, and they're like, "That looks like a rope burn." And he goes, "Yeah, I was cooking rope
in the microwave." It's so good. It's so good.
It's the best.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Well, and speaking of like great Foley work, just all of like they basically walk in and it sounds like the floor is just covered in garbage.
Yes, correct.
And like
correct.
they're just
And
like
at one point,
parting the sea.
Quinn's like, "Can I move some of this trash, Rodney? I want to sit down."
Yeah.
And oh man, cooking rope.
I was cooking rope
In the microwave. It was set on high.
Yeah. And so they're pressing Rodney and
Whit asks to see the bottom of his shoes,
Yep.
which has frosted glass on it.
just like his skylight.
Yep. "I've been framed."
Yeah.
And then Nick breaks out a little spritz bottle of the thing and hits Rodney in the face with it, and he proceeds to sneeze. And this seems illegal.
Yeah, it's definitely malicious at best.
Like,
No, it's like
you're trying to cause an allergic reaction.
no,
in
it's
him.
it's the peach fuzz and parasite. Like
yeah, it is.
flick and then
Yep.
death.
Yes. Oh man.
So yeah, Rodney starts sneezing, and this is when it's revealed that the air freshener is macadamia mist.
Yep.
We love that callback. We love we love that continuity. I will say there's another part of this episode that was a lovely callback. I don't know if you picked up on it. There's an interstitial music that's pulled straight from Novacom. Did you get it? It was like
Yeah, like I noticed like the very like Novacom guitars.
Yeah. It wasn't all of them. It was just, I want to say maybe one or two.
Okay.
But I heard it and I was like, no, that's just straight up nope. Like that's from a grand opening.
Nice. Oh man. And so they're like, "All right, Rodney, like you gotta like own up. Why'd you break in or whatever?" And he just starts confessing, and it's at this point that we find out that these break-ins weren't unrelated. Rodney stole the statue, and it's just everyone's caught off guard by it. He just points over, and it's like propping up a TV antenna.
Yeah. It's like, fine, I did it. And like, what? Where is it? And he's like, right there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's so good, though.
Yes.
It's really funny. I love the idea that Rodney has a clubhouse that presumably has no electricity, but he does have a microwave and a television.
So I think we can presume that the clubhouse does have electricity then.
I mean, but isn't that the bit?
Is it?
I thought that the bit was that none of that, like, he just had a bunch of junk and none of it actually did anything. Maybe not.
Maybe. I don't know. I just assumed, right, that these were things from the Electric Palace that, like, were malfunctioning in some way, and so he just gets them.
That's incredible. I love that. That's an episode I want to hear.
Oh, man.
The Electric Palace secondhand warehouse.
Yes.
Rodney's side hustle, flipping, like, TI-84 calculators. High schoolers.
So yeah, he reveals that the Bones thought he's been going soft, so they put him up to this. That he rigged a little cherry bomb by remote control, and in the confusion grabbed the statue and ran away. That the heat was on, so he hid it in the paper towel dispenser at Wit's End, and then broke in that night to get it back.
Yep, and he left through the skylight.
Yes, entered through the skylight, left through the skylight. Managed to rope burn himself.
Naturally. I mean, if you're not careful, rope's pretty hot when you're sliding.
We then jump back to Wit's End, and Wit is listening through the tapes again, and Nick's kind of like, what's going on? He's like, well, it doesn't add up. Rodney didn't mention anything about the chair. And so, like, something gives, and yeah, so they go back and they listen to audio earlier in the night. And there is the sound from the Bible room of someone fiddling with the visor on the Armor of God display. Like the closet door opens, they fiddle with the visor. You then hear them coming in and stealing the videotape, which is, I love that they don't call out that was something that Rodney also didn't do. Like that's just there for us as listeners to be like, wait, and Rodney didn't steal the videotape.
Yeah.
Like they call out the chair as like a loose thread, but they don't call that out, which I think is cool. And then the sound of the chair being pushed over, someone exiting through the window. There's like static, and then there's a rip and a button falling to the ground. Wit's like, okay. He like goes down to look for the thing that fell.
Yeah.
And then has Nick burn a disc with all the sounds.
Love to see it. Wit just slaving away, pressing repeat on the same track of like doors and stuff.
Yep. And so, yeah, Wit then, Wit takes the CD and he meets Sergeant Collins. She's there and he's like, you've got to see this. And she's like, well, I'm late for a press conference about this whole thing. And Wit's like, yeah, you might find this interesting. Like it, and she's like, I've got a CD you should listen to. And she's like, well, you want to just like hop in my car and play? And it's like, yeah, sure. I'll get a ride back to my car later.
Yeah.
And at this point, what's your take? Does he suspect her?
No, I don't think he suspects her at all.
I agree. That's also my feeling.
Because, well, I mean, the way that the line is read later when he connects the dots, he's like,
yes.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Yep. And so, yeah, Wade jumps in the car, throws in the disc. They're listening through it, and he's explaining it to, he's explaining it to her. And also we hear Nick at the same time listening through it on his end, and we get his commentary over it as well, which just like plays so well. And Nick goes like static, like on a radio, and like kind of like connects the dots for himself at the same time that Wit is.
Yeah.
Where Wit sees, like, is holding up the button that he found and is like, it looks just like yours. At which point his phone starts ringing because Nick is calling.
Yeah.
And she's like, turn it off.
Which is so spooky. Like, oh my gosh.
She just turns on a dime. It's so good. And Wait doesn't turn it off, but just flips his phone open or answers the call, but doesn't pick up. So Nick gets to be listening in on the whole thing.
So smart. Oh my God. So good.
And and Wit realize has put the things together and explains the heat was on, you hid, you said you were going to go out back, but you didn't. You went into the Bible room, hid there for the whole night. You then
waited for people to leave, came out,
got the statue that you had stashed in the visor, stole the videotape, exited through the window, but you didn't know about the microphones.
Yeah.
And she's like, yep, you
well
figured
done.
it out. Like, good work. Also, you've now become a liability.
Yeah. Which is
QB
great.
crying to Lord. And she just goes like, I can't take you with me. And like, I don't want a hostage. I'm not going to kill you. So just like get out right here. And Wick goes like, what do you mean get out? In like the middle of Route 24?
There's nothing around for miles.
Yep. And so she's like, yep. And leave your cell phone here.
Yeah.
And he gets out. And then that is just incredible work from Whit.
Oh my God. So good. Just
like,
the subtle, like, I'm going to leave my phone open. And then, yeah. The way that he says it, like subtly giving clues.
Correct. Giving Nick the middle of Route 24.
Yeah.
Rules because it doesn't
incriminate himself and it saves
at
himself.
all.
Yeah.
Like it really comes across as like incredulity and whatever. It doesn't come across as like an obvious hint.
I'm
to the
not
point where
trying
I'm
to
like,
tip
I
off.
don't
Yeah.
know that I knew that was a hint as a kid.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely picked up on it this time, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I can't.
But like I love how much it's not telegraphed.
Yeah.
And then she's coming up and she's like, oh no, why is traffic slowing down? Like I've got a plane to catch. And then she's like, oh, there's a roadblock. Mm-hmm. And then you hear Quinn come on and be like, you know, Officer or Sergeant Collins, come out with your hands up. Mm-hmm. She's like, how did you know? Who tipped you off? And we get Nick on the radio saying, that would be me. And she's like, the cell phone.
Yeah,
Nick.
yeah. Yeah. The cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And we find out that that she had a private plane all lined up to escape.
Yep. Yeah, she was ready to get out of there and pawn off that statue.
Mm-hmm. And Nick hopes that his trust can be regained with Whit, and Whit says, you're well on your way.
Yeah.
And then we go to the Chris outro.
Yeah.
And I know the Chris outro word perfect, which is a
like to
wild
recite it?
thing. No, I would not. But I was just like, as Chris was saying, I was like, I know all the beats of what you're saying. This is absurd.
Yeah. No, but it is kind of... It's fun how your brain remembers certain things like that. And especially in things like that you're not consciously aware of that you remember.
Oh, for
where
sure.
you hear like a sound bite and you're like, oh man. Yeah, no, I know all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love this episode. I didn't have a ton of personal connection to it or memory with it. Maybe I've heard it once. But yeah, no, it was fantastic. Like, I enjoyed it more the second time than I did the first time, and I loved it the first time.
It's so good. It's just, it's a tight, well-crafted mystery. Like, we don't get a lot of insight into Quinn, but it also doesn't matter. Or not Quinn, into Collins, but it also doesn't matter. And it just, we get Nick and we get Rodney, who are both such fun characters, but it's not either of them doing comedy. Mm-hmm. Like, there are comedic moments, but this isn't like a comedy episode. It's a mystery.
Yeah, but we have funny people in it, like Nick and Rodney, that are like kind of there to break up some of the drama. Yeah.
It's so good. I really love it. Anything else you need to you want to say closing remarks wise here, Andrew?
No, I don't think that I have anything really pertinent to add other than just I really enjoyed it, and like I think that this is another really strong example of like the show at its best, where it's using the unique avenues of storytelling that it has through the audio medium to like tell a kind of story that's a bit harder to do elsewhere. And especially the whole, like, motion sensing microphone thing is, like, totally ahead of its time. And, like, especially turning your phones into microphones.
Oh, yeah.
But it was... Yeah, no, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it both times that I listened to it. So there's not a whole lot to add because there was not a whole lot of a journey. It was just good all around.
Yeah. Great episode.
Great episode.
I'm so
great
glad
voice
we finally
acting.
got to cover it, because I feel like this is one of those like landmark Odyssey episodes for me, where I'm just like, I know all the beats so well and I just love it, and it was great to listen to it now and be like, yep, and it still is there.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a really, like you said, it's a really nice tight bottle episode. And most of the time with mysteries, they end up spreading them out over 2 parts.
Sure.
So it's interesting to see one that's like this, that feels just as complicated as a case of the secret room or something, but in half the time.
Yeah. And I like that. Yeah, like they do a good job with the like giving it some level of a moral and whatnot as well. Like I think that all plays quite well. It's a well structured episode.
Yeah, no, I thought that they did a great job with it, and yeah, no,
like trust just kind of like floats on the surface of the whole episode. It doesn't feel shoehorned in.
No,
nor does it feel like they're beating you over the head with it. Like it's just kind of there.
Yeah, no, well, and it is a part of. It's a part of the interpersonal consequences of what's going on, but it's not the most central thing to the plot, which I think makes it work really well.
Fair. Yeah, man. Good episode.
Good episode.
Andrew,
Good part of the show.
Anything you'd like to plug?
Oh, The Righteous Gemstones, Season 3. I just finished Season 3 last night. Super good, super funny. It's been picked up for a Season 4, but the Season 3 ending is, like, very satisfying and good. So, like, I don't know how interested I am in another season of it with how good the ending of Season 3 was.
All right.
So, yeah, definitely would recommend checking that out if you have had that show on your radar at all. It's funny. I think the first season came out in like 2019, I want to say. It's been running for a while.
Wow.
So, what about you, Dylan? Do you have anything to plug?
Yeah. I'm gonna plug The Killing, a Stanley Kubrick heist movie in the theme of talking about what is essentially a heist in this episode. I recently rewatched that one.
Yeah.
It is so good. I was watching it with a handful of friends, one of whom said, like, I didn't know movies from the 50s could be that funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep. It is both like a perfectly like plotted heist.
Yeah.
With an ensemble of characters and all these moving pieces and just like really fun like narration and it like looks cool visually. And then it also just has some brilliant moments of levity that I love. Would highly recommend The Killing.
I'm so sad I missed out.
All right. Well, with all that being said, I think it's time to get out of here. Andrew.
Yeah.
What episode are we covering next week?
Oh, goodness. I have to look up what the episode number is.
We can just say the name. It's fine.
No. Dylan, next week we will be back talking about episode 396, Poor Loser. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Can't freaking wait. Chess.
That's right. I was like, which episode is this? Yep.
Games. Dylan's choice. Great quality episode of the show. Andrew's choice.
Comedy.
Kinda funny.
It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.